Hi, this is SJ Talks and Life coming back at you with another video. I have it on the Pink Book Lessons here. She's talking about this mother in Baltimore moved her son out of the city because of everything that's going on. And she's talking about how black mothers are so busy clubbing and all this kind of stuff instead of getting a handle on their sons and everything. And just reading some of the comments in the comment section, and it's talking about the black single mother are not doing a good job and all this kind of stuff. But my question is um, where's the fathers? Where are the fathers at? See, why is everything always put on the black single mothers? Now, I do think that as a single mother, especially if you live in the inner city and living in these rough neighborhoods, you do have to put your foot down and you do have to crack down on your kids. Um, and you have to, as a mother, you have to, like I said in my other video, you do, the kids halfway have a chance that they have a strong mother that um, shows them through her actions and her conduct, and also teaches the children, you know. Um, but however, mothers can only do so much. Mothers can only do so much. Something is going to be, even with the best single mother, there's something that's going to be lacking. Even though I was a pretty good mother, um, and I did the best I could with my two sons, something is was lacking because they didn't have that stable father figure in their life. Something was still lacking. So something is going to be lacking even with the strongest mother. Something is going to be lacking because they need that father. I don't know why people keep expecting black women to run the community. I don't know why this is always the expectation of black women to run the community. And when the community is in shambles and things don't go well in the community, the black woman is being blamed. That's because the men are supposed to be the leaders. The men are the ones that's supposed to be running the community, not the women. Women are not the head. Show me anywhere in the Bible where the women is supposed to be the head. The women are not supposed to be the head. Men is supposed to be the head, and they're supposed to be the leaders. So it goes back to my question: where are the fathers? These children, these young boys need a strong father figure, and even when there is a mother in the home, I commend this woman for moving her son out of the area. And a lot of times that is necessary, even if it means that a lot of sacrifices have to be made. The mothers have to move the children out of those precarious communities. And sometimes it's to save the child's life. So yes, I commend this mother for doing that. But a lot of mothers are not able to do that. And in the argument here is that a lot of the women are so busy clubbing and doing their thing, and that's part of the reason too. While the children are out here running amok, like I said, they do need a strong mother, but at the same time, they need a stable father that cares, because a boy needs a stable, strong father to teach him, to discipline him, to lead him into the right direction, keep him off the streets. A boy needs a stable father to keep him off the streets. Keep him off the streets. Remember that show, Good Times? I talked about that show in one of my other videos. Remember that show, Good Times, where James was on the show? And then at that time where them boys tried to recruit, I think it was a couple episodes where they was trying to get JJ and they was trying to get Michael up in a group, and James put his foot in a gang, and James put his foot down. He put his foot down. He said, "Oh no." If you really look at that show and you look at the episodes when James was on there, he kept that family. He kept that family. He kept those boys off the street. because they had a strong father, had a strong mother, and they had a strong father. And he enacted discipline on those boys and those kids. And he put his foot down. And even though they was living in the middle of the projects in Chicago, they wasn't doing some of the same things that some of the other boys in the community was doing because they had a strong father. Look at some of those episodes of Good Times where James was on there. He had a strong impact. I really hated when they fired him and they kicked him off the show. I really hated that. But and they were fine after he died and they took him off the show. They were fine after that because they had that strong father figure. If you really pay attention to that show, they had a strong father figure, and that's what these black boys need. These black boys need that strong father figure to keep them stable, keep them off the streets, because mothers at the end of the day can only do so much. Is it going to be? It's going to be more detrimental when women are out there clubbing and whatever, doing, running the streets herself. Yes, it's going to be more detrimental. That's why I said women, they need a strong mother that's leading by example, watching her conduct, leading by example, and taking a vested interest in her children. Yes, but they also need a strong father. It takes two people to raise a child. And these young black boys, that's what they need. So where are the fathers? And then when things go wrong in the community, they put all the blame on single mothers, like the single mothers are supposed to be running the community. No, the men are supposed to be running the community. The men are supposed to be the leaders. They're supposed to be the head, and they're not doing it. The men are dropping the ball. The fathers are just making these kids, and they're running off, and they're not helping to raise their children. They're not putting their foot down. They're not doing any of those things. They're not taking a vested interest in their sons. They're not doing any of those things. So we need black men to do better. We need black men to do better. And we need black men to start holding each other accountable. Start holding these fathers accountable. And that's another issue I talked about in another video. Black men are not doing a good job at holding each other accountable. If they anything, they make excuses. And they want to put all the blame on the women. So I think that's a lot of the problem in these black communities, is that the fathers are not there. They don't have that strong father there. And then if the mother is not strong, then the children are going to, the boys are really going to be out there wilding out. And then a lot of times the mothers do have to work. In a lot of situations, the mothers have to work. And if the boy is a teenager and the mother is out working, then you can't be in two places at one time. Because people talk so much about how black women shouldn't be on the system, and black women should be working, and black women shouldn't be on the system, and talk about black women being on Section 8 or whatever and welfare so badly. But then when black women do get out there and work and try to do the best she can to provide for the family, then black women get criticized for not being in this situation, not being around her kids at certain times or whatever. So it's like a catch-22. It's like we get criticized for being there, we get criticized for not being there. And in a lot of these cases, yeah, there are some cases where the women are wilding out and they're clubbing and they're doing this and that and the other, and they're not focusing on the kids. But there are cases where the mothers are out working. They're actually working and trying to provide for the family. And if the child is a teenager, then they're going to be have free reign to, if they don't have that stable father figure or even a stable male figure in their life to say, hey, what are you doing, and kind of be on them, then it puts them in a precarious situation to where they may be out here doing certain things. You know what I mean? My sons got into some mischief when my sons got into some mischief. They sure did. They got into some mischief. And it always happened while I was at work. It's a lot of things they didn't tell me until they until they got grown. They waited till I couldn't whoop they behind. They waited till I couldn't whoop them no more, and then they told then they told me, yeah, this had happened or that happened. I said, hmm. So I said, y'all think y'all slick, you know, and so yeah, it always happened when I was at work. In most cases, when they got into a little mischief, it was while I was working. My oldest son got into some mischief one time, and he called his dad, and his dad went to get him and his friends, and it was in the other city, and they got into some trouble. And then my son, as of today, will not admit, he won't go into full detail about that. But his father told me everything. I said, ain't no sense to keep lying. Your father told me everything. But it was by the grace of God that he was able to call his father. And guess where I was at? At work. I was at work when all this was taking place. I was working third shift when all this was taking place. When all this was taking place, I was working nights. But I was glad that he was able to call his dad, and his dad handled the situation. So I was very glad about that. But even today he won't admit, he won't tell me, give me the full details about that situation. I said, well, your dad gave me the full lowdown. Okay, so you can lie all you want, but your dad gave me the full lowdown on what happened. So so that's a prime example, that they need that father figure. They need that strong father figure, because a lot of times, even if the mother's out, not out clubbing or doing whatever, if she's at work and she's got a teenage son and the father isn't there, then they may be they if the pretend particularly if they're it depends on who their association is. I always told both of my sons, watch your association. Don't I don't want you hanging around certain got boys, or if they're troublemaker, they want to get into trouble and do this and that and the other. I don't want you around them. And so you also have to, mothers have to, and fathers need to monitor the boy's association or who he's associating with. You have to monitor their, so it also depends on their association, because if they're around boys that like to do steal or do certain things, then they're going to be prompted to do the same thing. You know, so you also have to. It's very important for parents to also watch the children's association and who they're around. I tried to make it a point to pay very close attention to my son's association and who they were hanging around when they were younger. You know, but when they go to school, you don't know who they're associating with at school. You know, it can be a little difficult because you don't know who they're talking to at school and all this kind of stuff like that. So, um, but yeah, boys need a strong father figure to keep them off the streets, keep them in line, or I would say a father or father figure in their life to keep them off the streets, keep them in line. Instill good values in them. Strong mother and a strong father. That's what these boys need. And people need to stop putting all the blame on single mothers. Because I'm always going to go back to that question, where are the fathers? Where are their fathers? Black fathers need to do better in that area. They really need to do better. And a lot of black men are dropping the ball. And that's part of the reason why these communities are running amok, why these communities are in the condition that they're in. Let's not put all the blame on the women. Mothers can only do so much. Okay, hit me up in that comment section. Let me know. It's this video on Pink Book lessons. I was gonna do this video anyways. Baltimore women says mothers care more about the club, and there are mothers like that. But there are also mothers that are actually out there trying to work and provide for the family. But the children are, so um, we have that issue too. But like it goes back to what I said, we're the fathers. Hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are. Until the next video, be blessed.